Alrighty, League of Legends, what's going on? Commission here, once again, reporting to you live from the Arsenal on the Charles. Here in the boardroom, just looking over the matchups from this last week, week 13. A very big week for a lot of people, determining a lot of different playoff positions. Let's get right into the action and see what's going on tonight, what matchups are still to be decided. We start off with the games that have already been decided, and we're going to lead off with Adam versus Steve. So we got the battle for the pink shirt going on. Steve makes a strong move to take down Adam and make it a two-man race for that pink shirt. A lot of talk about the pink shirt, looking like it's going to be a very close race. Both of these men have taken home the pink shirt in years past, and it looks like one of these two will be our first two-time pink shirt loser. So apologies to one of those two men, but it looks like it's going to be a dogfight down to the end. Steve keeping it very interesting, taking down Adam. So now down the list, we have Dave versus Ryan. While not completely decided, it looks like it's pretty much in hand. Dave takes down our number one seed Ryan to keep his playoff dreams and hopes alive, while he has very slim chances. It is still technically possible. Dave's high point total is going to be his ticket in. He put up a whopping 180 points this week, or is projected to, so it could be a little bit higher, a little bit lower than that. He should end up with a very close, if not similar record to a couple of the guys in playoff contention. Me and him have a big rivalry matchup next week, and that could be his ticket in. That will be a very tight game next week. He will need the victory in order to have any sort of shot at making the playoffs. Now we're going to go down to the three teams that matchups really hold the biggest weight in our playoff scenarios. These three teams are still truly fighting it out for the final two playoff spots. These three teams have the best chances at making the playoffs, so let's dive in and see what we have going on with them. So leading off with Bud versus Cam. Cam, our number 2 seed. This matchup is pretty much officially over, and it is a huge loss for Bud. Bud has a very low point total on the year, and it makes it very difficult for him to overtake either Drew or Dennis for one of those final playoff spots. Looking more and more like he might finish up in the 5th place spot, and possibly even the 6th, should Dave come with a victory today, this week, and next week. If Dave can leapfrog him, that would be, pretty crushing for Bud. Now onto our matchup of the week, which was myself versus Drew, our 173 Fulton Street matchup. And it was a complete smackdown by me over Drew. And trust me, I'm going to be praying that this was the week I start Drew's spiral into being eliminated from the playoffs. With the loss this week, he faces Adam next week in our rivalry week. And, some crazy things could happen. Drew could be looking at dropping into the 4th spot after this week, depending on Dennis's matchup. And should he lose next week to Adam, he could very well be looking out of the playoffs if Bud can win next week after the loss this week. So, at the very least, Drew should be getting kind of nervous. He was looking like one of the strongest teams this year after pulling off that trade with Steve to really shore up his wide receiver corps. He was a hot team on the rise. People, a lot of teams looking out for him. But, with a loss this week, the last couple of weeks hasn't put up very high point totals. So keeping Dennis and Bud pretty close within those playoff seedings. Stranger things that happened. Could be a rough 2 weeks for Drew coming up here. Now, to finish off our last matchup of the night, which is pretty shakily undecided, we have Dennis versus Bill. Each manager has one player facing off tonight, but while Dennis has a comfortable lead a solid player in Jordan Reed to go. Deshaun Jackson goes for Bill. Jackson is very explosive, could have a couple quick, very long touchdowns, which could make up that point difference for Bill over Dennis. Should Reed, with a high injury history, a very long, lengthy injury history there for him. If something should happen, Dennis could also be looking at a loss. I think Dennis will come away with the victory tonight, but we've seen crazy things happen Monday night. Washington is a very shaky team. Who really knows what's going to happen with them? You got two guys fighting for looks with Kirk Cousins playing quarterback, and with Jackson's explosiveness and his deep threat ability, things could change very, very quickly with a couple long passes, long TDs there. Now, looking ahead to next week, we got rivalry week, the last week of the regular season. A lot of key matchups going on, and plenty of reason for some of our playoff eliminated teams to really show up, knock some people off, eliminate some people's dreams and hopes, extinguish some flames. So we will see what happens next week. A lot to be decided still. Really, we have just about 5 teams still fighting for a playoff spot. Let's see what happens. Good luck to everybody. Enjoy our matchups tonight, and we will see you next week.